Hey there! For April, I decided to make a coffee theme. I don't think I've ever done one, so this was a great opportunity to take advantage of all the variety that you can get from all the different types of coffee that exist. It's not only an amazing beverage that energizes you, its flavor is unique and its aroma is so enchanting that I think what I love most about coffee is the scent rather than the effect it might have on me. If I had to choose one coffee to drink for the rest of my life, it would be this one. A typical Italian espresso, without any added milk or sugar. Coffee like this in its purest form is not for everybody, but I think that it is the best way to drink it, to savor its unique flavors and to just enjoy it as pure as it can get. So I made this coffee to accompany my April setup, and the whole idea of this theme came from this sticker sheet that I got from Stationery Pal. I think that those stickers are just so beautiful and unique that they definitely inspire me to make a whole theme on pure coffee. The quote that I chose for this month is, "Coffee is a hug in a mug." So here you see me writing that down on craft paper with white ink, and as simple as that, I will get started. And while I do this, I'm going to read to you the history of coffee. No one knows exactly how or when coffee was discovered, but there are many legends about its origin. It is said that coffee grown worldwide can trace its heritage back centuries to the ancient coffee forests on the Ethiopian plateau. There, legend says the goat herder Kaldi first discovered the potential of these beloved beans. The story goes that Kaldi discovered coffee after he noticed that after eating the berries from a certain tree, his goats became so energetic that they did not want to sleep at night. Kaldi reported his findings to the abbot of the local monastery, who made a drink with the berries and found that it kept him alert through the long hours of evening prayer. The abbot shared his discovery with the other monks at the monastery, and knowledge of the energizing berries began to spread. As word moved east and coffee reached the Arabian Peninsula, it began a journey which would bring these beans across the globe. Coffee cultivation and trade began on the Arabian Peninsula. By the 15th century, coffee was being grown in the Yemeni district of Arabia, and by the 16th century it was known in Persia, Egypt, Syria, and Turkey. Coffee was not only enjoyed in homes, but also in the many public coffee houses, which began to appear in cities across the Near East. The popularity of the coffee houses was unequaled, and people frequented them for all kinds of social activity. Not only did the patrons drink coffee and engage in conversation, but they also listened to music, watched performers, played chess, and kept current on the news. Coffee houses quickly became such an important center for the exchange of information that they were often referred to as schools of the wise. With thousands of pilgrims visiting the whole city of Mecca each year from all over the world, knowledge of this wine of Araby began to spread. European travelers to the Near East brought back stories of an unusual dark black beverage. By the 17th century, coffee had made its way to Europe and was becoming popular across the continent. Some people reacted to this new beverage with suspicion or fear, calling it the bitter invention of Satan. The local clergy condemned coffee when it came to Venice in 1615. The controversy was so great that Pope Clement VIII was asked to intervene. He decided to taste the beverage for himself before making a decision, and found the drink so satisfying that he gave it papal approval. Despite such controversy, coffee houses were quickly becoming centers of social activity and communication in the major cities of England, Austria, France, Germany, and Holland. In England, penny universities sprang up, so called because for the price of a penny, one could purchase a cup of coffee and engage in stimulating conversation. Coffee began to replace the common breakfast drink beverages of the time, beer and wine. Those who drank coffee instead of alcohol began the day alert and energized, and not surprisingly, the quality of their work was greatly improved. In the mid-1600s, coffee was brought to New Amsterdam, later called New York by the British. Though coffee houses rapidly began to appear, tea continued to be the favored drink in the New World until 1773, when the colonists revolted against a heavy tax on tea imposed by King George III. The revolt, known as the Boston Tea Party, would forever change the American drinking preference to coffee. As demand for the beverage continued to spread, there was fierce competition to cultivate coffee outside of Arabia. The Dutch finally got seedlings in the latter half of the 17th century. Their first attempts to plant them in India failed, but they were successful with their efforts in Batavia, on the island of Java in what is now Indonesia. The plants thrived, and soon the Dutch had a productive and growing trade in coffee. They then expanded the cultivation of coffee trees to the islands of Sumatra and Celebes. In 1714, the mayor of Amsterdam presented a gift of a young coffee plant to King Louis XIV of France. The king ordered it to be planted in the Royal Botanical Garden in Paris. In 1723, a young naval officer, Gabriel de Clou, obtained a seedling from the king's plant. Despite a challenging voyage, complete with horrendous weather, a saboteur who tried to destroy the seedling, and a pirate attacked, he managed to transport it safely to Martinique. Once planted, the seedling not only thrived, but it's credited with the spread of over 18 million coffee trees on the island of Martinique in the next 50 years. Even more incredible is that this seedling was the parent of all coffee trees throughout the Caribbean, South, and Central America. The famed Brazilian coffee owes its existence to Francisco de Mello Paleta, who was sent by the emperor to French Guiana to get coffee seedlings. The French were not willing to share, but the French governor's wife, captivated by his good looks, gave him a large bouquet of flowers before he left. Buried inside were enough coffee seeds to begin what is today a billion-dollar industry. Missionaries and travelers, traders and colonists continued to carry coffee seeds to new lands, and coffee trees were planted worldwide. Plantations were established in magnificent tropical forests and on rugged mountain highlands. Some crops flourished while others were short-lived. New nations were established on coffee economies. Fortunes were made and lost. By the end of the 18th century, coffee had become one of the world's most profitable export crops. After crude oil, coffee is the most sought commodity in the world. And that is what I found on coffee history. As for me, I am not addicted, but I definitely enjoy a good cup of coffee whenever I feel like it. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite type of coffee. This is the final flip through of this aromatic theme. You saw me use real coffee to make some stains, as well as that beautiful ink that I feel is definitely the shade that coffee has whenever it falls on paper. Overall, it was a theme that I really enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like more journaling content, and as usual, thank you so much for watching.